Welcome to Voyage Daily Tech, the most important news personalized for you every day, supported by Voyage.com.
After listening to today's news, you'll know, first, a whistleblower alleges Figure AI's humanoid robots are unsafe, challenging its $39 billion valuation and sparking a major debate in Silicon Valley. We'll analyse why this lawsuit is a turning point for robotics and how it could affect safety regulations and investor due diligence. Second, Amazon cuts 14,000 jobs targeting mid-level engineers, while its own AI coding assistant sees massive internal adoption by the remaining workforce. This discussion will reveal how this connects to the trend of AI eating its own creators and what it means for tech career paths. Third, why 92% of security chiefs are ditching passwords as MFA fatigue attacks prove the once gold standard of cybersecurity is now broken. We'll explore how the FIDO2 technical breakthrough could transform enterprise security by enabling a truly phishing-resistant, zero-trust architecture. Fourth, the IRS is launching a massive crypto tax crackdown, requiring brokers to report all digital asset sales and ending a major tax loophole. In this episode, we'll break down this critical development and what it signals for the future of privacy coins and decentralized ecosystems. Fifth, Microsoft Copilot faces enterprise pushback over its $30 price, as 95% of generative AI projects fail to deliver measurable business ROI. We'll explore how this issue could transform enterprise procurement, signaling a shift away from ecosystem lock-in to best-of-breed AI solutions. The story begins with a truly startling allegation. The former head of safety at a major robotics firm is now blowing the whistle, claiming its humanoid robots are powerful enough to fracture a human skull. To understand the gravity here, you need to know about the core engineering principle of failing safely. When you have a robot strong enough to damage steel, designers are supposed to build in multiple layers of protection. This includes things like force and torque sensors at every joint that can feel unexpected contact and stop the robot instantly. It's about creating predictable shutdown protocols. So even when the AI gets unpredictable, the robot defaults to a state that minimizes harm, not one that carves up a refrigerator. The allegation here isn't just that a robot malfunctioned, it's that these fundamental safety systems might not be up to the task. The company is Figure AI, a startup backed by heavyweights like Nvidia, Microsoft, and Jeff Bezos that just saw its valuation explode 15-fold to a staggering $39 billion. And that $39 billion valuation isn't just a number, it's a symptom of a pressure cooker environment. The race in the humanoid robot space is incredibly intense, with fierce competition from companies like Tesla and China's Unitree Robotics. This valuation jump, fueled by over $1 billion in new funding, reflects a massive bet by investors that Figure AI can win this race. But that kind of pressure creates a powerful incentive to move fast, sometimes at the expense of everything else. The lawsuit comes from Robert Gruendel, who served as the company's principal robotics safety engineer. He claims he was wrongfully fired in September, just days after he lodged his most direct and documented safety complaints to top executives. According to the suit, Gruendel didn't just warn about theoretical dangers. He told the CEO that one robot had already malfunctioned, carving a quarter-inch gash into a steel refrigerator door. This is where the situation takes a more complex turn. Gruendel alleges that after he presented a critical safety roadmap to two prospective investors, the company gutted that very plan the same month it closed the funding round. The suit claims he warned this move could be interpreted as fraudulent. And from a legal standpoint, this allegation is incredibly serious. If a startup presents a robust safety plan to secure funding, only to abandon it after the checks have cleared, that could potentially be considered securities fraud under SEC, Rule 10b-5. So this lawsuit isn't just about robot safety. It could set a precedent for how investors perform due diligence in deep tech, forcing them to look past a polished presentation and investigate a company's actual times safety culture. Figure AI is firing back hard. A spokesperson says Gruendel was terminated for poor performance and that his allegations are falsehoods that the company will discredit in court. Ultimately, this clash highlights a dangerous cultural conflict. The software world often lives by a move fast and break things ethos. That's fine when you're fixing bugs in an app. But when you apply that same mentality to powerful physical hardware, the things that break can be property or even people. We've seen this before. Think of the Theranos scandal, where a rush to market led to completely unreliable medical devices. Or even going back to the late 1970s and early 1980s, when the first industrial robot-related deaths occurred because safety measures were simply not adequate. The concern is that history might be repeating itself. This legal battle erupts as companies like Figure, Tesla, and Boston Dynamics race to dominate a humanoid robot market that Morgan Stanley predicts could top $5 trillion, and all this is happening within a massive regulatory gap. You might ask, who is in charge of making sure these robots are safe? Is it OSHA, the Consumer Product Safety Commission? The truth is, no one really knows. Existing regulations were written for fixed, predictable industrial machines bolted to a factory floor. They simply don't cover AI-driven robots designed to walk around with us in our homes and workplaces. This lawsuit exposes that gap. It's a first case because the technology is outpacing the rules, leaving us all in uncharted territory. We were just talking about the move fast and break things culture in robotics, and it seems that mentality is also having a brutal impact at Amazon, but in a very different way. The company is going all in on AI, but in the steepest round of cuts in its 31-year history, it just laid off the very people you'd think it needs to win. A while back, we talked about how AI is reshaping white-collar work and even making it easier to outsource senior roles across borders. Today's development is the sharpest example inside big tech. Amazon is using that same AI-era playbook on itself. The bombshell number is over 14,000 jobs eliminated. And while these cuts hit every part of the business, one job category bore the brunt more than any other: engineers. In fact, official filings from 4 key states show that nearly 40% of the reported job cuts were engineering roles. We previously noted Amazon's push to be organized more leanly to seize AI opportunities. Now we can see exactly who paid the price. Now, get this, the cuts weren't random. They specifically targeted the experienced mid-level engineers, the workhorses of the company. These are the people with 5 to 10 years of experience who are caught in a squeeze. On one side, you have junior engineers who are less expensive. On the other, you have senior architects who are seen as essential for big picture strategy. The rise of AI tools makes those junior engineers more capable and the senior architects more critical, hollowing out the value of that crucial middle layer of talent. And as we discussed a while back, AI also makes managing far-flung, high-skilled teams easier than ever. So the middle isn't just getting thinner, it's more portable. This comes as CEO Andy Jassy is on a mission to make Amazon operate like the world's largest startup. On a recent earnings call, he said the cuts were a response to a culture issue, blaming a past hiring spree that left the company with a lot more layers and slower decision-making. We've heard this setup before: leaner orgs, faster calls, fewer layers. And this startup talk is so fascinating because it presents a paradox. How do you build an innovative startup culture while laying off the very mid-level engineers who are typically the engine of innovation? This move raises serious questions about whether this is a genuine cultural reset or just a justification for aggressive cost-cutting. Remember, when we examined similar efficiency pushes a while back, the one thing missing was the customer speed and savings took center stage. Service quality was an afterthought, but that's not the whole picture. The real turning point is that the layoffs disproportionately affected mid-level software engineers. And believe it or not, this is happening at the exact same time Amazon is developing its own AI coding assistant called Kiro, a tool designed to help write software. Internal demand for Kiro was so high that Amazon had to create a waitlist for its own engineers. They are laying off thousands of engineers while their own AI replacement tool is seeing runaway adoption internally. This isn't just an Amazon story, it's an industry trend. Microsoft is doing something similar, integrating its AI tool, Copilot, while also cutting thousands of jobs. It looks like AI is starting to eat its own creators. We flagged this direction a while back: tools that supercharge juniors, cement seniors, and compress the middle. The impact on innovation teams is staggering. The company made significant cuts to its visual search group, the team responsible for AI shopping tools like Amazon Lens, just months after rolling out a new live version. The video game division also saw significant role reductions, with Amazon halting much of its work on big budget games. And here's the customer angle we warned about. Research we cited earlier shows nearly 80% of consumers expect personalized experiences, and 70% are willing to walk after just 2 bad interactions. Cutting the very teams that build discovery and personalization isn't just a cost move, it's a potential hit to loyalty. This retreat from big experimental bets is a huge strategic shift. We're seeing Amazon cancelling ambitious projects like its Lord of the Rings MMO game, while at the same time, its competitors are doing the exact opposite. Microsoft has spent nearly $70 billion to buy the gaming giant Activision Blizzard. This signals that Amazon may be becoming more conservative and profit-focused, pulling back from long-term moonshots while its rivals are doubling down. We previously analysed how some leaders are leaning on AI and global talent to trim risk and spend. This looks like the big tech version of that mindset. The company's own human resources chief, Beth Galetti, wrote in a memo that AI is the most transformative technology since the internet, and because of it, Amazon is convinced it needs to be organised more leanly to move as quickly as possible. That echoes exactly what we highlighted a while back, AI as the justification for flattening orgs and shifting the work model. This isn't just about cutting costs. It's a fundamental and brutal reshaping of a tech giant for the AI era, a high-stakes bet that a smaller, leaner workforce armed with AI can out-innovate the massive corporate structure it just dismantled. And it raises a final critical question. While Amazon is optimizing for corporate efficiency and quarterly profits, it's competing against new kinds of rivals like France's Mistral AI, which are backed by governments and optimized for national influence. In the long run, is being lean enough to win against competitors who don't have to worry about the bottom line. And if the customer experience slips exactly what consumers tell us they won't tolerate, does the efficiency bet still pay off? Speaking of corporate efficiency, it turns out one of the biggest drains on productivity is also a huge security risk. The technology that was once the gold standard of cybersecurity is now officially showing its age, with a top tech officer on the record saying multi-factor authentication, or MFA, can no longer handle the current threat landscape. The technique hackers are using is called an MFA fatigue attack. They get a hold of a password, and then they just relentlessly spam the user with push notifications to approve a login. People get annoyed, confused, or just want the notifications to stop, so they eventually hit approve. It's a psychological trick, and it's brutally effective. We saw this in the massive 2022 Uber breach. This is the driving force behind one of the biggest shifts in corporate security. A new survey reveals a jaw-dropping number. 92% of chief information security officers have either implemented or are planning to implement passwordless authentication. That's a massive jump from just 70% in 2024, signaling the beginning of the end for the password as we know it. The reason is simple. Credential-based attacks are now the top threat vector, and companies are reporting a significant rise in phishing attempts and near-miss incidents that underscore the urgency to act. And, it's not just about security, it's about money. According to research firm Forrester, a single password reset can cost a company an astonishing $70, factoring in labor and lost productivity. That administrative drag is a major drain on resources. And that $70 figure is just the tip of the iceberg. The real numbers are staggering. One Forrester study found that companies switching to passwordless systems saw a 206% return on investment over 3 years. We're talking about saving thousands of hours per year and seeing up to a 95% reduction in password reset tickets. This isn't just a security upgrade, it's a massive business efficiency play. This is why companies are racing to adopt new systems. Instead of passwords, they're using biometrics like Face ID, fingerprint scanners, and hardware security keys. One CIO described the goal as making technology feel lighter and more human again, removing the friction that slows people down. The new mandate is to create solutions that are phishing resistant by design. What makes these new systems so powerful is their use of public key cryptography, particularly through a set of protocols called FIDO2 and WebAuthn. Unlike a password or a simple push notification, your device creates a unique cryptographic signature that is tied directly to that specific website's domain. A phishing site, even a perfect copy, can't replicate that signature. And this is what makes it phishing resistant. The math simply won't allow it. It's a fundamental security leap forward, and the results are already coming in. Companies making the switch are reporting dramatically improved employee experiences with faster logins and a significant reduction in password-related help desk tickets. Most importantly, passwordless authentication is becoming the cornerstone of a new zero-trust architecture, creating a stronger, high-assurance identity layer that enables secure access regardless of a user's location or device. While new technology is solving some of the internet's oldest security problems, old-world institutions are finally catching up to one of the newest technologies. The party is officially over for crypto tax cheats. Starting January 1st, 2025, the IRS is launching a massive crackdown that ends a common loophole for crypto investors. For the first time, brokers will be required to send the government a new form, the 1099-DA, reporting gross proceeds from all your digital asset sales. This isn't just a new form, it's a huge operational lift for the exchanges themselves. Take a company like Coinbase, for example. They estimate they'll have to issue around 10 million of these 1099 DA forms for the 2025 tax year, costing them over $8 million just for printing and mailing. Actually, we are witnessing a coordinated global effort to bring crypto into the traditional financial reporting system. The European Union is rolling out a very similar framework called DAC 8, which also forces crypto providers to report user data to tax authorities. According to financial advisor Rick Edelman, this move is designed to stop people who act as tax cheats. He states, many people mistakenly believe that there's no reporting obligation. Those days are now gone. The situation presents a fascinating duality. On one side, this is about stopping tax cheats, while on the other, it strikes at the very heart of crypto's original promise of privacy. This mandatory reporting by centralized exchanges is essentially a form of surveillance, which could inadvertently fuel a new wave of adoption for privacy-focused coins and truly decentralized exchanges as users try to escape this new centralized net. The IRS is aware of this, by the way, and has already invested in technology to try and trace even these so-called privacy coins. If that was just the appetizer, the main course is just being served. The rules get even stricter. For the 2026 tax year, brokers must also report your cost base as exactly what you paid for your crypto. This puts the burden squarely on investors. An expert at the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants warns that if you haven't kept meticulous records, especially after transferring tokens, you're going to have to start right now. The complexity is staggering. This has created a whole new industry, a regtech arms race, if you will. Companies like Coinly and Zenledger are building sophisticated software that connects to hundreds of exchanges, wallets, and blockchains to try and automatically piece together your transaction history. They're trying to solve this massive headache for investors, but it's a constant battle to keep up with the rapid innovation in crypto, especially in the world of DeFi and cross-chain transactions. The net is widening beyond just sales. The IRS is also targeting staking rewards, which are becoming increasingly common as they get activated in new crypto ETFs. The agency has stated that these rewards should be taxed as income upon receipt, leaving many investors with a new and complicated tax liability. And interestingly enough, the IRS's stance is at the center of a huge legal debate. The core of the disagreement is this. The IRS says staking rewards are income, like a dividend you get from a stock, so you're taxed the moment you receive them. But many in the crypto world argue that these rewards are newly created property. As a comparison, think of a farmer growing a crop. The farmer isn't taxed on the value of the corn the moment it sprouts. They're taxed when they sell it. The outcome of this debate will set a massive precedent for how all future forms of digital value are taxed. This all leads to a critical problem for crypto owners seeking help. The final bombshell comes from Rick Edelman, who warns that when it comes to navigating these complex new rules, most accountants are not trained in this area. From the hidden costs of crypto taxes, we turn to the very visible and very high cost of enterprise AI. Some of Microsoft's biggest customers are looking at its flagship AI tool, Copilot, and saying 4 powerful words, "I don't even want it." That's a direct quote from a consultant who helps companies negotiate Microsoft deals. He says clients are telling him they want their expensive Copilot licenses to go to zero. This is the brutal reality facing Microsoft's massive AI push. Despite CEO Satya Nadella boasting that over 150 million people are using the technology, the core of the problem is a jaw-dropping number, the $30 per user per month price tag. According to one chief information officer advisor, the question is, am I getting $30 of value per user per month out of it? The short answer is no. So the thing is, the problem for so many companies often isn't the AI itself, but how it's integrated. A stunning study from MIT found that 95%, yes, 95% of generative AI implementations in the enterprise have no measurable impact on the company's bottom line. The failure, the report says, isn't because the AI is broken, but because of what it calls flawed integration with existing workflows. What really brought this to a head was the massive hidden cost this reveals. Before a tool like Copilot can even begin to be useful and trustworthy, a company has to get its own internal data, AI ready. That means huge, expensive projects involving data cleaning, setting up new security permissions, and organizing decades of messy, scattered information. You can't just turn on the AI and expect magic. You have to build the right foundation first. And many companies are realizing that hidden work costs far more than the $30 subscription, and the competition is not standing still. Google's Gemini is making rapid advancements, and the threat is real. In a stunning reversal, one partner reported that a massive 16,000 employee company just moved all their email back to Google specifically so they could leverage more Gemini. Now, this decision brings both an opportunity for Google's Gemini and comes with inherent risks for Microsoft, signaling a huge crack forming in the fortress that has defined it for decades. For years, Microsoft benefited from ecosystem lock-in, where once a company used Windows and Office, it was just easier to use all of their other products too. But we are now entering an era of what experts call best-of-breed AI. This means companies are starting to care less about the underlying software suite and are instead choosing the absolute best AI tool for the job, even if it means breaking away from a single vendor. The traditional Microsoft moat is getting weaker. This all points to a massive power struggle in the AI space. Microsoft is reportedly feeling the pressure, offering some clients 50% off the list price for Copilot. The company is now even introducing a cheaper $21 per month business tier to try and boost adoption. While Microsoft claims that over 90% of the Fortune 500 use Copilot, the pushback from buyers and the aggressive moves by competitors tell a different story. It's a story of a tech giant used to dominating the enterprise, now facing a street fight. As one consultant put it, this is a new reality for the company. Microsoft is trying to catch up, quite honestly. That's not what a monopoly typically has to do. They're not comfortable. Their sales reps actually now have to learn to sell.
That's it for today on Voyage Daily Tech. Follow, share, and stay tuned for daily updates coming your way tomorrow.